And the problem is, I don't care if I lose any more weight. Like, that's my biggest issue right now. I don't care. If you don't like salads, you're doing it wrong. Here's the thing, okay? You got to find a balance with your salads where they're lower in calorie than what you would normally eat, but still taste good. That's the thing. That's the thing. And salads can taste very good. You just got to make sure you strike a balance. If what you normally would have had was the cheeseburger and fries, and that adds up to 1,000 calories, you get a salad with 600 calories, 500 calories that you still enjoy. That's what you got to do, brother. And if you're not enjoying your salad, you're not liking it right. What about a delicious cactus salad? Let's take diet advice from somebody who can't stay on a diet. Well, here's the thing, Brown Cyclops. If you wanted to learn from someone who has your high school teacher, for example, your high school coach, the guy who taught you how to play baseball, okay? He's good at coaching. He probably wasn't a very good sports guy. Otherwise, he would have been a professional athlete. So that's like saying,
why would I listen to my high school coach? If he was any good, he would have fucking went and become a professional footballer. And he's not a professional footballer, therefore I'm not gonna fucking listen to him.
You can be an expert in a topic and not be successful at the topic. You know what I'm saying? I know what to do. I just don't have the mental discipline to do it. But having the understanding of how to do it doesn't mean that I have the discipline to do it. You know what I'm saying? Nice straw man. Well, the point that I'm making is I'm trying to show you, I'm trying to give you an example of I know what to do. I just don't have the mental fortitude. I just don't have the discipline. If I ever actually had the discipline, it would be easy though. You know what I'm saying? If I had the discipline, it would be easy because I know exactly what to do. I don't want this to sound like, okay, start clipping now. I don't want any of this to sound like an excuse. I don't want to sound like I'm making excuses or anything. But I got the gastric bypass surgery, which was very beneficial because now I've lost about 200 pounds since my starting weight pre-surgery, about 250 pounds since my biggest ever. I was 587 on my biggest. I'm at about 346 today. Though I haven't weighed myself in a couple of weeks, so who knows? It could be closer to 350 or it could be closer to 340, but it's somewhere in the middle there. And I don't want to weigh myself right now. But I also got a divorce 2 months after my gastric bypass surgery. And that made things pretty complicated, pretty fucking miserable. So I went back to comfort eating almost right away. But my surgery did its job. I was able to comfort eat, and I was able to eat bad foods that I shouldn't eat, but I couldn't eat very much of them. So I still lost 200 pounds. And I'm very happy having lost that 200 pounds. But eventually I got to a point where I could fit in almost a plate of food. And I'm at a point now where I can fit in almost a full plate of food. I can fit in probably 12, 14 ounces of food, give or take. And if I try to eat much more than that, I get very, very sick. So there's still a limit to what I can eat. I'm still making unhealthy food choices. And I just don't have the discipline to shore that shit up. I just enjoy the meals I'm eating right now. Tonight, I had Mexican for dinner. I got fajitas. I had 2 fajitas, little burrito rolls. And I'll have 2 more for dinner. Maybe if there's probably enough for 3, but it's probably only going to be 2 more. So that's probably 1,500 calories right there that I'm eating for my lunch and for my dinner. And then you add what I ate for breakfast, and breakfast today. What was breakfast today? Probably bacon and hash browns. I can't remember what I ate for breakfast today. Probably garbage. And then I snack on fruit throughout the day. So I'm eating 3,000 calories a day, 2,500 to 3,000 calories a day, which is what it would take to maintain my current size. And the problem is, I don't care if I lose any more weight. Like, that's my biggest issue right now. I don't care. I'm at my high school weight. This is what I weighed in 10th grade. I can walk. I can exercise. I can have sex. I can walk around Disneyland. I can walk around my neighborhood. I can clean my house. I can get on my treadmill. I can go to VidCon without needing to rent a car. I can go to conventions. I can go to shows. I can travel on an airplane and fit in one seat. I love the size I currently am. I would like to get smaller. I know you guys want me to get smaller. But I love the size I currently am. I'm so happy at this size. And I'm also happy eating the food that I like to eat. So I'm at a point where I can eat the food that I like to eat, and I'm at a point where I'm maintaining the size I am. And since my stomach, a lot of people say, well, when your stomach stretches out, that doesn't happen. That's actually not something that can happen. I will never be able to eat much more than I'm currently able to eat. So I will probably always stay the size that I currently am for the rest of my life if I keep eating the way that I'm currently eating. Well, you put the weight back on. It's not possible because my stomach's not going to get any bigger. So the interesting thing about this is being as big as I am right now at 350 pounds, I'm still going to die early being 350 pounds. And if I'm being entirely honest with you, and I see no reason not to be entirely honest with you, but though I don't want to worry you guys, I don't care about dying. In fact, to be honest with you, most days it's a bit of a comfort to me. Most days when I think about eventually dying, it's relaxing to me because I've been anxious my whole life. Ever since I was a kid, I have trouble sleeping at night. I have trouble even just sitting down and doing nothing. My brain just never stops. I'm in so much emotional, mental pain. I look forward to dying. And so if somebody says to me, well, Boogie, you're going to die in 10 years if you don't lose this last 50, 100 pounds. I'm like, hey, that sounds great because I'll have a great 10 years. I'll eat what I want and I'll die. And I'm looking forward to dying. So it's like all around the board. It's just like a good thing all across the board, right? If I ever got to a point where mentally I was not miserable, maybe. And that's why we're on therapy. That's why we're trying to work with this stuff. We're trying to do this stuff. And I don't want to die today. I don't want to die this year. But I'm not scared of dying. You know, I'm not trying to rush myself there. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. I don't care. You're going to die one day. Okay. Do I still get to eat what I want and still stay 350 pounds? Yes. Okay. That's exactly what I want. I love my current size. I love being able to eat what I want to eat. And that's the exact mindset you've been in since way before the surgery. Exactly, Altian. See, Altian gets it. And that's the biggest issue with the surgery. And I definitely want this as part of the clip if you create a clip, okay? Please make sure you include this as part of the clip. I didn't do the mental work pre-surgery that I needed to do. In fact, I'm more damaged now in a post-surgery world than I was in a pre-surgery world because I got fucking divorced. I was already carrying around all that miserable damage, all of that self-hatred, all of that self-loathing, all of that anxiety, all of that depression. I was still carrying it around. I didn't fix any of that before the surgery. And then my shit got worse because I got divorced. And so now I'm extra depressed and extra miserable and extra pissed off and extra hurt. And it's even more difficult, I think, to recover now. Now, here's the most important thing. That I think you guys need to understand. Am I giving up? No, I'm happy where I am, and I don't want to gain any weight. I do not want to put a single pound back on. I like exactly where I am. So I'm definitely going to fight to stay at least the size I am. I am going to continue to try to fix what's going on up here, but I don't know that I ever will. So I want you guys to be fully prepared for me to stay this size for the rest of my life, because I'm happy here, and it's the happiest I've ever been. But you need to be prepared for me to stay this size. But it's the happiest I've ever been. Aw, thank you, my friend.
100 pounds to lose, but just lack the motivation.
Yep. So basically, me and my ex-wife had problems right from the very beginning. And our biggest issues were lack of communication and lack of problem solving. We were never very good at compromise. She had things she needed. I had things I needed. She had things she wanted. I had things I wanted. Rather than getting very good at compromising, we would fight. And we weren't very good at communicating when we fought. And so people would be mad for days at a time. And it sucked. And nobody wants to live like that. Nobody wants to live with somebody who's mad at you for a day or 2 or 3 days, right? Nobody would want that. And so we continued to work on communication. We continued to work on our ability to compromise. We continued to work on that stuff. But quite unfortunately, we just kept getting worse. We probably should have never got married to begin with because we were having that problem from the very beginning. But here's the best part about it. When me and my ex-wife were happy, oh my God, were we happy. I mean, we were fucking ecstatic. We're talking about going to VidCon and staying in expensive hotels and making love and going to theme parks and going to traveling the country together and playing with our dog together and laying in bed together and watching shows together. When we were happy, it was a 10 out of 10, dude. We were like 10 out of 10. She was ecstatic. I was ecstatic. The downside is when we weren't happy, we were at a 0, dude. We were at a fucking 0. We were so unhappy. If one of us was unhappy, the other one was unhappy, and someone was unhappy all the time. And I'm not going to point fingers at her. I'm not going to point fingers at me. You don't need to know the specifics. The only thing you need to know is that we weren't particularly happy, and we weren't able to solve the lows. And the highs were always high, but the lows were always low, and there were far too many lows. And nobody wants to live like that, dude. So eventually my ex-wife said, hey, after your surgery, I think I'd like to split for a little while. And I said, that sounds like a really good decision. Let's try that post-surgery. I think if it were up to me, I would have continued to try to make it work. If it were up to me. Wasn't up to me. My ex-wife did us both a favor. But I will tell you this. My ex-wife said one day, she says, one day you will thank me for doing this. And it wasn't too long after the divorce, maybe 6 months, it was this time last year or April of last year. I was in New York City, and I had just collaborated with the Gregory brothers, and I was at the Creator Summit, and I was on a rooftop party with Markiplier and Matthew Santoro and all these other great places. Jake Paul was even there. And I was like looking around, and I was just happy. And it's one of the very few times I've been happy in this lifetime. As happy as I can be with as broken as I am. And I was really enjoying it. I was eating this little chocolate thing, like off the dessert tray. And it was all it took to fill me up. And I hung out with Matt, and I hung out with Jake, and I hung out with all these people and had a lot of fun. Ashley, Bernie's fiance, Ashley, can't remember her last name. Ashley Jenkins was there. We hung out. It was great. And that was the first night I realized that she was right. I could be happy without her. And probably happier than, I would say the 10s I've experienced since the divorce are not as good as the 10s that I had with my ex-wife. I haven't had a day that was as good as our best day together with my ex-wife. But I've had some 7s, I've had some 8s. And I've had more 7s and more 8s. And I've had almost no 0s. So that, I don't know, it's interesting. But that's basically what happened. A lot of people are like, did she cheat on you? No, she never cheated on me.